With its parts dropping from the Meso N12 being the rare part in the blueprint, the Axi S10 being the common part for the barrel, the Neo M4 being the uncommon for the receiver, and the Lith Z3 being uncommon part for the stock, the Mastery Rank 12 required Nagantaka Prime is a huge improvement over the standard one, mainly because the crit chance that used to be 15%, it's now 25. The impact has gone up, the puncture has gone up, the slash has gone up, meaning the total damage has gone up, the magazine is bigger, the burst fire has better fire rate, bigger magazine, total damage and crit, and just better in every single way. Bar one. This thing comes with one polarity. Even the Exilus slot was a dash, sadly. So I have changed it to a V, because with fire rate and everything else, obviously terminal velocity is kind of a must, because it increases the projectile speed for this, so that had to go in there, and to get it to fit, a V and a dash won't hurt any. Though I would have loved to have got my hands on a Riven for this, simply because you only managed to get it to 75% crit chance, but what you also have to remember is on headshots it's an extra 135% over the base 25, not the modded 75, while aiming for 9 seconds. If you can land the headshot with bladed rounds on kill 120%, again, these are from the base stats, not the green stats, it would be the yellow ones on the left. An extra 120% crit chance for the same 9 seconds, an elemental combo, then fire rate, because the alt fire just empties the magazine, with crit chance minus fire rate, hence the fire rate being put in there, and crit damage up there. But I would love to have swapped any of these two out for a Riven. I will in the future, but for now it's kind of just stalled out. At this point you can of course put an arcane on it if you want to. Yeah, there's something about this that just didn't kind of sit well with me. I think it's because the Nagantaka Prime is basically like the huge Prime, but the Zhuge Prime, worse. Because that thing is basically the same as this. It is a crossbow based weapon, but this one, when you alt fire, it just empties the magazine really quickly. I had some great footage of actually using this, but yeah, it turns out if you use the same hard drive for too long, everything goes to pot, so have to find everything. But the Zhuge Prime also has a total of 50 damage. It may have 1 extra percent crit chance, but it's got 0.3 less crit multiplier, and for some reason I kind of preferred the huge Prime to this. It just comes down to personal choice. This does way more damage. I think it came down to the fact that the huge has more impact and puncture, and this is definitely more of a slash based weapon, whereas the 10 impact on the Nagantaka Prime, once modded and everything else, just kind of worked that little bit better for ticking shields off enemies. This lacks that because the impact being 1.7, again, it just felt like it was lacking that tiny little bit of a buff that it doesn't really lack, because as aforementioned, it's 75% crit chance, 5.1 times crit multiplier, and no matter how you put it, if it's only doing 1000 damage, and I mean that in a literal sense, it's only doing 1008.6 damage when Bladed Round kicks in and Argon Scope kicks in, yeah. Unless they're actually active, you're probably better off using pretty much anything else for this. This is definitely one of those very, very accurate weapons. Looking into it, what was it? The projectile speed is 100 meters a second. Hence, terminal velocity, 60%. And that should be 60, so it should go down to 40 meters per second. Well, that math made no sense. It should have been 160 meters a second, increasing the flight speed, which is exactly what it does. But I love the fact that it's silent. More than anything else, every form of this is silent. Yes, bows can be a lot of fun. Some of the better bows aren't silent. This is, which makes it just one of the better ways to do it, because a bow is good. A crossbow allows you to fire more arrows quicker, which is what makes this thing so much better than an actual bow. I just think that, to be fair, when modded it's perfectly fine. A Riven would have made this thing so much better, but not having a Riven, like a lot of people won't for this, the burst fire just kind of having to empty the entire magazine like that, it's fun, it's great if you put reload speed in it. This thing is exactly what all primes are supposed to be. It's an upgraded version of the Nagantaka, which makes the Nagantaka better. This, I wish this is what the Nagantaka was like when it came out, because the prime version of it would be just so much better. Can you imagine them buffing, wow, what was it, 15% for the base one, for the crit chance? This is 25, they had have added another 10% like they did here. It would have been a 35% crit chance, meaning it would have basically orange critted constantly. It would have been quite possibly a red crit weapon, but that's just wishful thinking, because it's not what happened. This is just an upgraded version of the Nagantaka, which made it exactly how you kind of hoped the Nagantaka was going to be. The biggest disappointment to this is the fact it only came with 1 V polarity. If it had 2, like most primes come with 2 or more, this came with 1. It's not very often they come with less than 2, and very rarely they come with none, but it has happened before. As expected though, I still think I preferred the Corvus Prime to this out of the new prime weaponry. Garuda, yeah, that's a whole thing for another time, but out of the 2 weapons, oh yeah, the Corvus Prime, definitely. I just wish I had have actually upgraded these or left them until the Double Affinity weekend, which technically is ongoing at the time of re-recording this, because it would have made getting those polarities on there so much better, and I pretty much guarantee you I added at least 1 more V to this. I'm saying that, but I'm actually doing that as I'm kind of seeing this, just in case one day I do get a Riven for this. Oh, that nearly went wrong. And then it will be able to fit quite nicely, making it so much better again. So, in short, the Nagantaka Prime, huge improvement over the normal Nagantaka, massive improvement over the Huge. I just like the way the Huge works. That being said, I do have a Riven for that makes it a pretty decent weapon, but this still does more damage than the Huge, which makes this better than the Huge in every single way. I think I just prefer the Huge because I have a Riven for it. If I had a Riven for this, oh, I would probably use this a lot. I like bows. I'm not going to not run a bow and run this instead, because crossbows are fun, but bows are just better. But for stealth missions, every day I'm going to take this, just simply because it has the option to rapid fire and empty the magazine stealthily, which is a lot of damage, especially if you can land those mostly on headshots. Oh, the alternate fire mode on this is so much fun. But with that, we've gone on too long, so we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.